CC, are we starting to wonder how good Dak Prescott actually is, judging by yesterday's game and the last two games before that?
Jenna, at some point, I believe that in life there's a thing called a 5-alarm fire. At that point, everyone needs to evacuate the building.
It's not good.
Take care of the women and the children. Now, earlier in the season, it was only a 1-alarm fire in Dallas. No need to panic. People put them in some must-win situation games. They really weren't. When Zeke got suspended, it was like a 3-alarm fire. It's like, man, it's critical. Get the women and babies out of the building because there's going to be severe smoke. Now seeing them play 3 games without Ezekiel Elliott, please get everyone out the neighborhood, evacuate. It's a 5-alarm fire, all right? There will be casualties. Don't know if they will recover. Like, this was their season. They are not a good football team. They're not a good offensive football team. And when they're not a good offensive football team, Jenna, what it does is it exposes their defense. It exposes their defense for being undersized. It exposes their defensive backs for being young and inexperienced. And if you leave them out there long enough in man-to-man coverage, they're going to give up some big plays. So for me, after seeing it, yes, they've gone through some stages, but if I was a Cowboys fan, I would be seriously concerned about the Cowboys, and I would be concerned about their quarterback, because we posed the question in last week's shows leading up to the Philadelphia game. If I had Carson Wentz, if I had Dak, which one would I take? And I told you guys, eliminate the running game. All right, because that's a variable that you can differentiate between quarterbacks,
right,
especially in the NFL.
Yeah. And
we took away their running game in Dallas. We see who Dak is. Now, we know Carson Wentz, they got 2 running backs. They've done well running the ball, but he's a better thrower, he's a better athlete, and he has the ability to ad-lib more like Russell Wilson than you think. Like Dak, we kind of give him the benefit of the doubt. But when things break down, Dak is not at his best. He is not when the offense is off schedule. No, he's not at his best, and we've been able to see this the last 3 days. To me, as I've watched the game, Tyron Smith back at left tackle, Ezekiel Elliott is the best football player on the Dallas Cowboys team. Now, I thought so, but now I know that the numbers and I know that the video evidence that I have to be able to present to people, that they might realize that, yeah, you know something? I think he is the best football player on Dallas's team.
What do you think, Nick?
Dak said there, we're in a funk. I can think of a different F word for the Cowboys, and that is finished. Their season, as far as the playoffs, is now over. So it is no longer about, can the Cowboys pull out of this? Can the Cowboys win their last 5? No, no, no. The Cowboys is a playoff, forget Super Bowl, is a playoff contender in the NFC. That is finished. So then we do set our sights on what can we learn, and that is about Dak Prescott. And man, oh man, all of a sudden, the guy right here who was casting my make-believe MVP ballot last year for Dak Prescott, oh, I got some questions now, because we knew the offense wouldn't be as good. But what was I felt like I said this probably for 7 straight weeks, because we kept thinking Zeke's suspended, he's not suspended. So I kept saying, I am excited to see Dak without Zeke, because I want to find out if I'm right. I'm excited. One of my favorite things about sports is we have all these arguments and debates, and some of them are unprovable, like the greatest of all time discussions, but most of them, the best thing about them is we get to find out.
Yeah.
Like Ohio State's Michigan's playing this weekend. Someone thinks Michigan will win it. Oh, guess what? By about 4 p.m. Saturday, we're going to know.
Yep.
We never got to know, really, with the Cowboys in the 90s. Was it Troy? Was it Emmett? Was it the offensive line? Was it the coaching? Was it the underrated D-line? Like, there were a lot of things there.
Yes.
And people to this day debate it. We were going to, for awful reasons, we were going to get to find out. Is it more Dak? Is it more Zeke? Man, and the results are in, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what I know.
Right.
If their backup quarterback was in there, Zeke wouldn't all of a sudden go from one of the best running backs in football to one of the worst. And Dak has gone from one of the best quarterbacks in football to one of the worst. I do not think he is actually one of the worst quarterbacks in football.
Right.
But if this is your basement, 3 consecutive games, he has 8 turnovers in 3 football games. He's on a list with Deshaun Kaiser, Mike Glennon, and Dak Prescott. Most turnovers of any quarterback in a 3-game stretch this year. Like, this is deeply concerning. Forget the Cowboys for this year, because they're finished. It's deeply concerning for Dak's trajectory as a pro.
Well, what's tough is that Dak started up here, right? We all saw him last year. I think this time last year they were 10-1 after 11 games. Dak Prescott was a shooting star on his way up. We all looked at Dak Prescott. We saw that Ezekiel Elliott was in that lineup. We all said Dak Prescott was the guy. This year, he's actually playing as if he was the rookie. Like, this is the kind of year where you have kind of a little bit of a beat-up offensive line. Your star running back is in for a couple games. He's not in. You put your rookie quarterback in. This is generally how he plays. And now you're starting to see a reverse of, and it's usually like this. Usually you have your rookie year first, and then you start to see the swing up. It's hard to know where he's going to go now.
Usually goes the way Carson Wentz went.
Exactly, where you have a decent first year, and now your second year with all the pieces together, and you know the offense, and you know your personnel, you start moving up. But it looked like it was a reversal for Dak Prescott. But you mentioned the word casualties, and I'm very curious. You said now you start to see casualties. Does that mean casualties on the coaching staff? Does that mean what kind of changes do you think get made after what happened yesterday?
Well, it's easy to blame the coaches. Be like, oh, the coaches, they let's just blame them. Let's say, you know something. They don't make any adjustments. But let's blame the players, okay? Jason Witten is an old guy. Now, people can be like, oh, man, he's great, he's a nice guy. Okay, listen, my nice guy list, it's full. I need football players who can make some football plays. Dez Bryant, it's pathetic how he's playing. Bryce Butler, 1 catch, 5 yards. Like,
how about their big play? The Terrence Williams big play, CC. What did you see on
He was wide open in the middle of the field, and when you are the speed guy in the offense, like, you know you have to make a play, split the safeties. He was looking for a place to fall down. Yeah. They were in 2-man. The middle of the field was wide open. He caught the ball. It's the biggest play. I think it was 35 yards or so. Yeah. And he began to look for a place to fall down. Like, they don't have enough playmakers on offense and defense. Now, yeah, we started with Dak. But you have to look at this organization. There's no playmakers on defense in their linebacking core and secondary. There's no playmakers on offense. Dez Bryant, is marginal at best. Jason Witten is super slow. Terrence Williams is limited. Cole Beasley, I mean, stop. Enough.
This is where, and I'm going to give you a lot of credit today. I said in the morning meeting when you were in your office, you weren't there. I didn't want to say it in front of you, but I'll say it in front of you now on television. It is frustrating to me how right you've been about the Cowboys. Because, like, it's just, I want you to be right, but I don't want you to be, like, this right when I've been on the other side of something. But I didn't think it was possible for one guy, especially a running back, to make this type of... I watched this offense last year. Mm-hmm. This offense last year was the most balanced offense we'd seen in the league in a few years. But what you have been harping on, and we've seen it these 3 weeks, is Zeke's value is not his 130 yards rushing. That's nice. His value is these slow wide receivers are in man-to-man coverage all game.
Yes.
Your young quarterback, who we now see all of a sudden... in times of adversity, starts sailing balls, starts skipping balls. Your young quarterback has the defense the entire game. He's a secondary concern. The entire game plan is to stop the running back. And when that flips, they're like, okay, listen, you give 4 yards of carry, as they have in every game without Zeke. We're going to be okay, but we're not going to let big plays happen.
Right.
They don't have an answer.
Right.
Like, you've said it, and we've seen it now 3 weeks in a row.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.